Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take the sources you provide, cut through the noise, and deliver those deep insights you need.
Hello again.
And today, we have one of the most intellectually adventurous assignments, I think, we have ever faced.
That's an understatement.
We are diving deep into a cosmology that actively, defies the conventional models we typically analyze here.
We're stepping into a very different realm. It's deeply interdisciplinary. We're going to be exploring a theory of universal origin that really mandates blending physics, hard mathematics, and some profound spiritual concepts all into one single story.
And that's our mission today, isn't it? To act as guides through this material. We want to make sure you understand the exact sequential unfolding of creation as the author describes it.
Exactly, like watching a film frame by frame. The goal isn't just to summarize, it's to extract the core framework and really analyze the conceptual leaps the author is making.
Right, so for you, the learner, this is a shortcut to understanding a complete alternative cosmological framework.
One that requires us to understand physics, but physics in service of a kind of spiritual limitation. It's a fascinating premise.
Okay, let's unpack this truly unique theory. Our focus is chapter 19 of a text called The Legend Mind, Zero to Infinity.
The author is Sonu Kumar, who writes under the moniker Legend.
And the chapter title itself is The Origin of Universe, I Theory. So like you said, we're essentially viewing a cosmic film dictated line by line on how our universe came into being.
And the dedication in the book really sets the tone for this whole approach.
It really does. The entire work is dedicated to my immortal guru, the Lord Shiva. And this isn't just a casual nod.
No, not at all. The author explicitly links his inspiration to Shiva's lifestyle, which he describes as the state of zero attraction of the world.
That philosophical idea apparently drove Sonu Kumar, or Legend, to live alone in a quest to resolve his own complex questions about existence.
So the theoretical physics we're about to unpack is the result of a really profound personal and philosophical journey.
We should also probably pause on the author's chosen name, Legend.
Yes, it's an acronym.
It stands for L, Legacy, E, even G, G-O-D-E, and N, not D, demons.
Which suggests a truly epic scale. There's a belief system here that's guiding the formulation of the theory itself, ensuring that his framework encompasses both scientific observation and, ultimate metaphysical power.
It's a pretty striking mission statement. And we should also note where this cosmology, the I theory, is situated in the book. It's in Unit 2, which is titled The Legend Unique Questions.
Right, so the author spent the first two units, Unit 0 and Unit 1, laying the groundwork. Things like self-improvement, mind awareness, observational lessons.
So Unit 2 is where those philosophical lenses get applied to the biggest question of all.
Yeah.
How did the universe begin?
Exactly, and Legend gives us a crucial disclaimer right at the start. He knows that the concepts he's presenting, especially about the universe, are offered in a rough way or big picture.
So this isn't meant to be the final perfected theory.
Not at all. He sees it as an invitation. He hopes that by laying out this provocative framework, he'll spur deep investigation by specialists, scientists, mathematicians, physicists, numerologists.
To refine the vision and arrive at what he calls perfect results.
So we're examining a cosmic hypothesis, a rough draft of creation that uses familiar scientific language to describe something fundamentally different, a controlled, spiritually guided, and limited cosmic process.
Okay, let's move into the opening scene of this cinematic timeline then. It all starts with the very first principle, limitation.
To understand how the universe begins in this cosmology, we have to first accept a very specific rule of existence. And Legend grounds this rule in a simple, everyday observation.
This is the principle of limitation.
And it leads to matter conversion.
And this is the crucial starting analogy, the clean room. So imagine your room. It's meticulously neat, it's clean, filled with fresh air, lots of pure oxygen. When you leave it,
Okay.
then you sealed up. No windows, no doors, and you don't go in for 30 days.
Right. So what happens? According to Legend, after 1 month, that pristine air, the oxygen, it converts into a lot of dust particle in the form of carbon element mixed with some other elements.
So the insight here is that purity, when it's confined, is thermodynamically unstable.
Yes. It must convert to mass. The confinement itself is the driver of change. It's a fascinating idea.
That's a very localized, simplified model of matter conversion due to boundaries. But the application is immediate and vast.
We now apply the same physics to the initial state of the universe. The text describes primordial time as having the whole universe being vacant like a vast room.
Filled with lots of pure oxygen as gaseous element.
And crucially, this primordial vacant room has a specific temperature. The text defines it as cool.
Cool. Okay.
The presence of this vast, pure oxygen gas before any mass is formed is explicitly identified as the cooling agent in the system. So the universe starts cool, vast, and pure.
But our room analogy had walls. It had a door. What provides that necessary confinement for a universe that, we conventionally understand as being infinite or constantly expanding?
And that is the grand philosophical pivot, the critical boundary condition. This is the engine of the entire theory.
Okay.
Legend asserts that the universe, this vast vacant room, has a boundary at the last of the universe.
A boundary at the last of the universe.
And to justify this, he refers back to a preceding and frankly staggering conceptual definition.
Which is?
The concept that the value of infinity, which is equal to 1.
Wait, hold on. Infinity equals 1. Mathematically, conceptually, that seems like a massive contradiction. How does defining an absolute limitless concept like infinity as having the definitive value of 1 translate into a physical boundary for the universe?
And that's where the philosophical intent behind the theory really comes to the fore. Legend interprets this mathematical identity, infinity equals 1, as the assertion that everything in the universe, at the cosmic level, has some boundary or has limit.
I see. So if infinity, the very symbol we use for unlimitedness, is assigned the concrete value of 1, then it stops being truly infinite in the conceptual sense.
It becomes a unit. A single contained thing.
So the universe is conceptually self-imprisoned. The very idea we use to denote its vastness, infinity, is what actually defines the vessel.
Precisely. It's the ultimate metaphysical constraint. Instead of some external force, the constraint is internal, it's fundamental, and it's defined by a kind of mathematics derived from a spiritual quest.
So the universe, which the world describes as unlimited, is actually limited by the very abstract concept that names its size.
In this cosmology, infinity isn't endlessness, it's the symbol of the limit. And this foundational limit, this cosmic boundary, is what triggers the entire process of cosmic evolution.
Just like the walls of the clean room triggered the conversion of oxygen into dust.
Exactly.
It's an elegant, almost tautological starting point. If the limit didn't exist, the pure oxygen would just stay as pure oxygen forever.
But because the system is bound by this principle of infinity, the cool, vast, oxygen-filled room is now a contained system ready for conversion.
Okay, that concludes the setup. A pretty mind-bending setup, but I think I'm with you. Now, for the first major action sequence.
With that constraint established, the boundary applied by the concept of infinity, the sequence of matter conversion begins. This limitation on the unlimited universe means that the pure gaseous element, oxygen, can't sustain its pure state anymore.
And we see the direct consequence, just like in the clean room. Many numbers of oxygen atoms start change to dust atoms. So the purity converts, creating the first heavy matter in the cosmos.
What's fascinating here is the elemental conversion itself. In standard cosmology, hydrogen and helium are the primordial elements. They're the lightest gases, which eventually clump and fuse into heavier elements.
Right.
Here, oxygen, which is a relatively heavier element, is primordial, and it converts into even heavier carbon-based dust. This inversion is absolutely key to understanding Legend's unique rule set.
And at first, both the oxygen and these new dust atoms are still in a gaseous state, and they're moving very slow.
It suggests a low-energy, highly diffuse initial conversion. But the introduction of these dust atoms fundamentally changes the physics of the system. Because these dust atoms are explicitly stated to be heavier than oxygen atoms.
Ah, okay. So once you have a mass difference, the next physical law kicks in.
Gravity. Due to their heavier mass, all the newly formed dust atoms begin to concentrate on the center of this vast room.
So the sheer volume of this conversion starts defining the universe, not by its uniform gaseous state anymore, but by its new gravitational core.
The narrative has shifted. It's gone from an abstract, homogeneous field to a dynamic, centrally focused mass accumulation.
And Legend is careful to root this in mainstream physics. He cites the process as being directly linked to the center of mass theory of physics subject.
Yes. This is the moment where that philosophical constraint hands the reins over to standard Newtonian mechanics.
That's a brilliant choice for the structure of his argument. He's saying, I define the starting parameters using spiritual and mathematical concepts like Shiva and Infinity 1, but once matter exists, The predictable laws of physics take over.
Precisely. The heavier particles accumulate at the common center of mass.
So these freely moving dust atoms start moving in circular ways, sort of spiraling inward toward the absolute center of the universe.
And this swirling concentration is the mechanism for the first major cosmic structure.
Which results in the creation of one big spherical hollow ball with mega boundary at cosmic level.
This is the new container. A dense, massive spherical shell of concentrated dust atoms that have migrated from the vast diffuse boundaries right into the core.
We need to understand the implications of this structure. It's not a solid sphere.
No, it's a hollow ball. It has a massive boundary, and inside it you have the concentrated dust and only a few oxygen atoms.
And the bulk of the original pure oxygen has been pushed outside into the vast exterior space.
So the universe has now created its own internal blockade. The initial philosophical boundary, the infinity equals one concept, created the dust.
And the accumulation of that dust created a physical spherical boundary.
Which raises the critical question. If the core law of this cosmology is that boundaries must trigger conversion, what chaos is about to unfold inside this newly formed spherical ball?
It's incredibly neat. The process is self-referential. Limitation leads to mass leads to a new limit, and that new limit must lead to an even deeper conversion. So we're ready for the internal drama.
And phase 3 is the internal combustion sequence. The spherical hollow ball, now acting as the container, must force the few remaining elements trapped inside it to change.
This is the moment we transition from just mass concentration to chemical reaction, and then very dramatically to energy generation.
Due to the boundary, the blockage inside the spherical ball, the conversion continues. The few trapped oxygen atoms convert not into more dust, but into hydrogen atoms.
Wow, okay, that's a stunning elemental transformation. Oxygen, a heavier element, transforming into hydrogen, the lightest element, which is required for stellar formation.
And the scientific principle of the formula remains valid here, H2O. The text details that due to the presence of oxygen and hydrogen atoms in a specific ratio of 2.1,
water is formed within the hollow ball.
The building blocks of life water are created right here, derived entirely from the pressurized conversion of primordial oxygen gas.
That's profound. Water, this cosmic intermediate, formed inside a massive hollow sphere of dust and gas, all triggered by the pressure of confinement.
But the water is just a catalyst for the next more violent phase. The real ignition comes with motion.
Okay.
The spherical ball doesn't just sit there passively. It begins to rotate on its own axis from the moment it's formed. Legend is very explicit. This rotation is work done.
So this is the injection of kinetic energy into a sealed, high-pressure system.
And this is the moment to really pause and appreciate the scale of this work done through the two analogies he provides.
All right, the first one is the packed room. You enter a windowless, doorless room when it's cool. After 3 hours, your own body heat, trapped by the confinement, makes the room hot. After a full day, you're sweating.
The room didn't heat up because of an external source. It heated up because of the trapped energy of you.
And that thermodynamic principle is scaled up astronomically.
The second analogy reinforces the kinetic aspect. A person running 5 to 7 kilometers a day starts sweating. They're releasing internal energy and heat because of their motion.
And we're applying that same fundamental body heat physics to a megasphere of gas and dust rotating in a vacuum. The simplicity of the mechanism is, well, it belies the explosion of the scale.
So the rotation of this massive spherical ball, the cosmic work done, causes the internal water to start warming up. Its temperature rises over cosmic time.
And the temperature is just inexorably building because the heat can't escape the spherical boundary.
Which leads to the most dramatic point in the cinematic sequence, the critical point. The water temperature keeps rising and rising until it hits a threshold of above 100 degrees Celsius.
And this is the moment of elemental transformation and energy release.
The text describes that at this threshold, fire take place in water, which make water to boil with high temperature and steam from water come out.
Fire in water. That's an elemental contradiction. It feels less like standard physics and more like a mythic controlled detonation driven purely by internal heat and confinement.
It is the ultimate expression of the rule. Continuous work done in a confined space must lead to an exponential increase in energy. The water, which was the stable product of the previous conversion, now becomes the fuel for the system's ignition.
Releasing tremendous steam and fire. But we have to remember, the sphere is blocked.
The steam has nowhere to go.
Which sets up the fourth phase, the consequence of this massive internal energy.
And this phase explains the final composition of our universe, how we get planets and stars. It's all driven by the continuous cycling of fire and steam within that cosmic container.
So because the spherical ball is still blocked, it has that mega boundary, and there's no open space for steam to escape from burning water. The steam has to mix back with the burning, boiling water.
Right. It's described as dust itself at this point. It's a continuous closed-loop conversion factory.
This cycle water produces steam, steam mixes back into the water, and the whole system is burning hot. This leads to the formation of carbon atoms, which are black in color.
This is the blackening process, the birth of the dark, solid matter that will eventually populate the cosmos.
It's the ultimate carbonization. The process continues, water is continuously vanished into steam, the steam continuously mixes back until the original liquid and gas interior is completely transformed.
And the result is the formation of a thick jelly substance as coal in many numbers. The interior of the sphere is now packed with infinite quantities of this primordial, thick, jelly-like coal.
So the entire system has essentially become a colossal cosmic pressure cooker, turning the initial gases into carbon-based coal.
And this thick jelly coal, formed in infinite numbers, is the source material for all visible heavenly bodies. Now we need to differentiate between the stars and the planets.
How does that work?
Legend explains that the differentiation depends entirely on the composition that's retained during this carbonization process. Let's start with the planets, including our Earth.
Okay.
Some of the thick jelly coal masses retained a little amount of hydrogen and oxygen, small amounts of the original reactants.
So because they retained these residual cooling elements, these masses did not catch fire in the same way the suns do today?
Exactly. They formed many planets, including Earth, which is cool enough to maintain a solidified structure. That's the origin story for habitable worlds in this model.
And the stars.
Conversely, the majority of the substance achieves maximum transformation. Many of the thick jelly coal masses become solid megacoal in infinite numbers due to the continuous internal heat from the rotation and the pressure conversions.
These are the future stars.
And here's the universal blaze, the kinetic climax of the physical formation. These infinite numbers of solid coal substances, now dense and compressed, begin to collide with each other in random ways inside the spherical ball.
And that collision is the ignition.
Yes, it leads to a huge fire in the solid coal. In contrast to standard cosmology, where stars ignite primarily through gravitational collapse, leading to hydrogen fusion.
Here, ignition is driven by the mechanical collision of solid carbon masses.
The whole spherical ball becomes filled with many fires as sun and ball.
It makes a star-forming process intensely violent and driven by random motion rather than, say, uniform accretion.
And the result is a sphere saturated with hot gas and dust containing lots of new elements: hydrogen, helium, carbon, and many more elements.
And the final visual confirmation of this phase is crucial for the eye theory, right?
Absolutely. Because this spherical hollow ball is now completely filled with fire and hot opaque material, the burning coal and subsequent hot gases, when you view it from the outside, the ball itself appears dark black in color.
So the cosmic movie now transitions from creation to composition, and finally, to its shape.
Before revealing the final shape, the text gives us a quick, relatable analogy about the stars we see today. It grounds the initial explosion in a common, observable phenomenon.
The matchstick.
The matchstick. When you rub it and light it, it starts with an intensely high temperature, but after some time, that fire becomes normalized.
And legend suggests the same principle applies to our modern sun and many stars' temperature. They were formed in a moment of intense high-energy collision, and they're now slowly cooling down from that initial blaze.
It's a simple mechanism for explaining stellar evolution that connects back to everyday physics. But now we have to step back and look at the whole big picture of entire universe. We have to focus on the final defining visual structure, the eye theory.
Okay, so when we observe the entire cosmic configuration from some grand external vantage point, the universe is revealed to have two distinct color zones.
White and black in center. The intensely black center is surrounded by white color outer space.
And this striking two-tone configuration, the text declares, look like a human eye.
This is the ultimate cosmological shade, an anthropomorphic structure linking the microscale of the human body to the macro scale of the cosmos.
Let's define the components of this cosmic eye precisely. The black part, which would be like the pupil or the iris, is the spherical hollow ball we've just been tracking through all 4 phases.
And it's black because it's filled entirely with burning, opaque megacoal stars and hot gas. This black pupil contains billions of galaxies, solar systems, stars, and planets, including our Earth.
Okay, wait a minute. If the Earth is inside this black ball of concentrated stars and fire, doesn't that fundamentally contradict our own astronomical observations? We see external galaxies.
Right.
We don't feel like we're trapped inside a massive, opaque black orb.
That is the essential interpretive challenge, and it's a great question. We have to assume that for Legend, the spherical ball, while it appears visually black from the outside, possesses an internal geometry that allows for the light of its internal stars, its suns, to illuminate the planets and define the visible night sky as we know it.
So the blackness is the density and opacity of the container itself, not necessarily the transparency inside it.
I think that's how we have to read it, yes.
Okay, so that makes the structure feel like a highly sophisticated, self-illuminating black box. The ultimate external space, the white color outer space, must then represent the purity or the absence of the converted matter.
The boundary beyond our single limited system. The conclusion is therefore very specific. Shape of human eye is the shape of single universe.
This entire cosmic event, driven by the principle of limitation, results in a single, perfectly eye-shaped universe. But just as we settle on this structure,
The scope explodes exponentially. This single universe is not the totality of existence.
the scale suddenly goes from one universe to a massive parallel structure. Legend asserts that there are as many as 3024 parallel universes that exist within our larger mega-universe.
So our single eye-shaped, black-centered cosmos is just one of these thousands of entities.
The introduction of the number 3024 is significant. This isn't just a randomly chosen large number.
No, it immediately shifts the cosmology into the realm of numerology. It suggests that the universe isn't just expanded, but it's also counted. Why this specific number? We have to assume it relates directly to the spiritual or numerological framework that's derived from the dedication to Shiva and the Guru.
And these 3024 parallel universes themselves are contained within the supreme final structure.
And this is where the cultural and spiritual context becomes the defining cosmological principle.
Yes, the text states these 3024 parallel universes are all present in one supreme structure, the 108 pearl beads of Amala.
Amala being a string of prayer beads traditionally used in Hinduism and Buddhism for counting mantras, often with 108 beads.
This is a radical assertion. The ultimate reality isn't defined by dimension or physical force, but by a structured, countable religious artifact.
What does it mean for the physical reality of 3024 universes to be organized into the form of a 108 bead mala? It suggests the entire mega-universe is a cyclical spiritual counter.
It implies a reality where the structure of creation is fundamentally numerological and devotional.
And each of the 108 beads is an ultimate structural unit, capable of containing multiple parallel universes, 3024 in total. Furthermore, the ultimate structure, the cosmic guru, is assigned a definitive color.
It is white.
The supreme being, the ultimate container, is white. This white color indicates the supreme color of the entire universe in the form of the cosmic guru.
So the creation hierarchy moves from the black, fire-filled single universe, the eye,
To the multiplicity of 3024 parallel universes,
all contained within the structure of 108 units, the mala.
which is ultimately characterized by the pure, unblemished color white, representing the supreme guru.
That progression from a cool, oxygen-filled vacuum to a universe structured like a string of prayer beads is breathtaking in its complexity and its ambition.
It really is. It successfully blends elemental physics with high-level numerology and devotion.
And that dedication to Shiva, the god of destruction and ascetics, it starts to make profound sense now.
It does. The entire process of creation begins by imposing a limit, that zero attraction of the world principle, which ultimately results in a countable, structured reality guided by the symbol of the guru.
Okay, so let's recap. We have journeyed through this cosmic film, from the cool, oxygen-filled vacant room through the boundary of infinity to the chaotic conversion into dust.
The formation of the spherical mass via the center of mass theory.
Inside that sphere, the blockage forced the creation and ignition of water, leading to the boiling fire and then that massive carbonization into coal.
And the collision of that megacoal created the stars, filling the holosphere and turning it dark black from the outside.
That dark sphere, set against the white outer space, gave us the final shape, the human eye, which is the shape of a single universe.
And the significance, as Legend intended, is in the synthesis. This theory demands that we view scientific processes, chemical conversion, thermodynamics, gravitational theory, not as independent forces.
But as predetermined actions triggered by a higher spiritual and mathematical constraint.
The concept of limitation and the value of one.
It's a radical call to arms for interdisciplinary thinkers. And we noted that the author presented this in a rough way to spur further investigation. The strength of this work really lies in how coherently it links these disparate fields. But we have to leave the listener with the core provocative takeaway from that last phase.
We analyze the single universe, the I, and we know it's one of 24 such universes. But the ultimate cosmological question is raised by the containing structure, the 108 pearl beads of a mala.
Right. What is the fundamental dimensional nature of a mega-universe that is counted and structured by this specific sacred number?
The implication is massive. Is creation simply contained by physical boundaries, or is it fundamentally counted by devotional constants?
The idea that 24 universes can exist within a framework measured by 108 units suggests an incredibly dense, layered reality, where numbers are the architecture.
And think about this. If the single universe is represented by the human eye, and the ultimate structure is the color white, the color of purity, what must be the relationship between the purity of the guru and the chaotic, fiery black carbon of the actual universe we inhabit?
It suggests that our universe is merely the dark converted matter within a much larger pure field.
That is an immense concept to grapple with.
It is. And for those of you who find this structural question compelling, we can confirm that Legend promises the very next chapter will cover this exact topic, the parallel universe, bead theory.
Well, that is clearly the next deep dive waiting for us.